Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, your place for news and gameplay. Some good, some bad, and let's be honest, likely some raging tilting. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell for notifications. Today's episode, we're taking a look at the event that just passed. We're going to examine it, review it, determine what was good about it, what was bad about it, what potentially could be changed for future events to, in my mind, make it a little bit more fair, because I feel in the end, it wasn't really fair for all players in all leagues. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's just get started here. Let's take a quick look at what was good with the event. First off, we had some great prizes. We had some legendary pilots. We had Jad Parks. We had Linda Cano, Alika Renner, and Adrian Chong. They were all good legendary pilots to get. You were able to get full bots, the Eldritch Ares, the regular Ares, the Fenrir, and the Ao Jun. We had limited time weapons, the Freedom Avalanche, the Freedom Igniter, and the Freedom Hussar. All great prizes to achieve. And unlike past events, we also had modules in this event. We could get the Last Stand and the Anti-Control, which would have been great for people like me, who's more of a grinder, and I don't spend a lot of money on the game. And I don't have a Last Stand or Anti-Control because I can't afford the gold. So it'd be great to get one of those. And finally, we were able to get some golden power cells out of the crates as well. And we all need golden power cells. I found the drop rates of the prizes are relatively decent. I know a lot of people were getting prizes right in the first one or two openings. I myself weren't quite that lucky, but I did get some decent prizes. Also, this event, we had some special weekend mini events. Now, I'm not really sure if it was really technically tied to the event itself, but it was a nice bonus that we had. The first event came with the triple of the honor points. So any of the events that we were actually trying to achieve the task, we had triple of the points, and that was actually a welcome sight to see when we first started these events. And we also had I believe it was a 25% reduction in the cost for upgrades for a weekend as well. And I actually hope this is something that Pixonic continues to do, maybe a couple times a month have a special weekend. The downside about these things is, especially the 25% reduction weekend, it wasn't publicized anywhere near and ahead of time that it should have been. I myself lucked out completely, or I guess you could say I got really unlucky. Pixonic only mentioned this the day before it started, and when they announced it, I had started a 6-day upgrade 1 hour before they mentioned it on Facebook. So I unfortunately couldn't really take advantage of this event. Had they actually inform the community about a weekend event, people could plan their upgrades accordingly and actually take advantage of it. Now, I hope Pixonic could realize that for any time in the future they decide to do something like this and give the community a fair warning in advance so that we can plan accordingly. We also had the arena, and it was a great place for people to go who could farm gold, and unfortunately it could really only be taken in advantage with certain people because you had to be familiar with the aspects of free-for-all. But it was there, and for those who could make use of it, it was a great way to get some extra gold. And finally, we were able to get 3 daily event tasks each and every day based on honor points. I'm not sure if it was the last event or the event before, but the number of tasks we got were very sparse. And in the end, a lot of people had complained that while the prizes and the concept was good, we just didn't get very many tasks to actually obtain tokens to open up the special delivery crates. So this time we had 3 a day, which was good, and it also enabled us to open up 1 chest or 1 crate a day if you were able to grind all the 3 tasks. Now, if we go over to the bad, yes, we had some great prizes, but they did have a legendary pilot in there called Minchi Novak, which is for the Ares. And in my opinion, this is the worst, completely useless legendary pilot out there. If you look at all the other legendary pilots, they have a unique skill that is useful for the bot it's on for the duration that the bot is alive. This particular pilot, however, it says once the Ares gets to a certain durability level, and usually it's around 50%, the weapons get increased weapon damage for 30 seconds. So you have a pilot with a skill you cannot change that is only ever going to be activated for your bot for 30 seconds in the entire game. Myself, I unfortunately went and bought this pod before I had realized what their skill actually was, because on the test server, it wasn't restricted to 30 seconds. On the test server, it was just a generalization of increased weapon damage. So I went and got this bot, and in hindsight, I wish I hadn't and just gotten a regular pilot, because I would have been much more useful to use that slot and that skill for something else. And also we had bot components. Most of us don't really care about components too much anymore. In the past, you used to be able to get components out of things like the gold crates, etc. But now they've changed it for the better, that we can get just regular weapons and bots out of the crates. But the components themselves, unless you're going to open up thousands and thousands of these special delivery crates and spend some money, you're just going to pile up a little bit of components, and it's not going to do you any good. And eventually these bots will come to the workshop, and yes, it might get you some of the way there. You don't have to build the bot completely from scratch, but in actuality, most of us don't want to see components when they're opening these crates. I myself probably would have rather had seen silver in the long run. I do say in the long run because I was able to get one bot using some components. So I really can't complain too much, because if I hadn't been for those components, I wouldn't have gotten the bot that I really wanted. However, generally speaking, I think most players can agree they really didn't want to see components in these special delivery crates. Now, the arena was also bad. It was good in the sense that people could make use of it and got gold, but it was bad in the sense that most of the players couldn't make use of the arena because they're not skilled and experienced in free-for-all. And although the arena isn't truly free-for-all, the only difference between the two is in free-for-all you could respawn your robot assuming you had some fist points. In the arena, you can't respawn, and you're stuck with a set hanger given to you by Pixonic. And for those people who are unfamiliar with the bots that are in that hangar, or who are unfamiliar with free-for-all, you're essentially throwing gold away because it costs 100 gold in order to enter into the arena. I myself never entered the arena once this event because I just don't want to throw my gold away. I have to save it for pilots and rushing upgrades if for instance, they ever have another weekend event where you can get a reduction in cost for upgrades. I want to be able to save some gold for that. Now, the 3 daily event tasks were based on actually honor points. And one of the bad things is they removed the honor boosters. I don't know why. I wish they hadn't. We're all starving for resource boosters of kind, and they removed it. The only way I saw you could get it anymore is they did have a deal in the shop where you could buy a certain amount of boosters. I think there were some attack boosters and gold boosters, and you got, I think, 15 honor boosters, etc. But the only way you could get it was actually spending real money, which I don't really agree with. You should be able to still get these honor boosters in other mechanisms. The other downfall was the higher the league you're in, the easier the tasks were to actually obtain. And I'll get to that in a little bit and try to explain what I mean. But as an example, in Champion League, you get 400 points for getting a top place. Whereas in Expert League, you only got 210, but yet the event task was the exact same total of honor points you had to get. So a Champion League player could grind out the event task in fewer games than a person in Expert League, and a person in Expert League could grind out that task in fewer games than a person, for instance, down in Gold League. The event should be for everybody and not give an advantage to people in higher leagues. And finally, I view there was at least one task that was broken. Now, I did record a gameplay. I was going to try to put in here to explain it, but it just made this video way too long. So I'm going to show a couple screenshots of what I'm trying to say here. So first off here, I have my honor point task that I was trying to grind for before I did my match. It says get 3,000 honor points by kills and damage dealt. Now, to me, I read that as if I get top kills or I get top damage, I should get some honor points. And if I get both top kills and top damage, I should get more honor points to be able to grind this further. But that was not the case for me. So if I look at my next screen right here, this is what I got after the game was over with. I came out by top and damage dealt, and I didn't actually take a screenshot here of what I did, but I ended up with top by damage and I got top by kills. But because I was playing, for instance, Beacon Rush, you look on this list, there is nothing here about being top by kills. Now, I'm not sure if in free-for-all or if in team deathmatch, there is a task here for top by kills. I don't play those modes very often. I didn't happen to play those during the event, so I'm not sure if maybe I would have ground this task out a lot quicker had I been playing those modes. But in Beacon Rush and Domination, which was where my main focus was for this event, I got top by damage, and I did get top by kills in this particular match. So if you look at this here, it says come out with top by damage dealt. That's 210 points. And it says deal damage to enemy robots. I would have assumed I would have gotten the 967 for dealing damage because it is coming in top by damage. And it says destroy enemy robots. Well, I got 370 points for destroying enemy robots. And I got top in actually destroying the robots. So I would assume I would have gotten 370 points. So if you look at that totaling, that's, let me see here, 210 plus 370, that's 580 points, plus another, say, 900-ish. So that's another 1,480 plus 67. So it's around 1,500 points in addition I felt I should have gotten from that one particular battle. But if you go and look at what I got in the honor points afterwards, I went up to 1748, which is exactly 210 points from when I started that match. So I only got credit for the come out by top 1 damage dealt, which is 210. There was nothing in there about the fact that I got top in kills. There was nothing in there for that I destroyed enemy robots, and the longer the kill streak, the more points you get. So to me, I felt like this task was actually broken. And I say broken because I didn't record an example, but I had another game where I didn't get top in damage. I think I got top 2 in damage, but I got top in kills. And I ended up getting more points in that game than I did in this one, where I came both the top in damage and top in kills. So I think this task, at least for me, it was broken. And every single time this task came up, I completely dreaded it. Because it would take me, and I'm not kidding on this, an hour and a half, 2 hours to grind this out sometimes. And I'm sorry, an event task should not take that long to grind out. And that's if I was getting lucky with my matches. Because it earned 3,000 points, if I'm only getting 210, you do the math, that's about 15 games I have to play getting top damage. So to me, that task was actually broken. But if you go back to my slide here, as I said, I just explained the top one was broken, but how would I actually change this event going forward? So the arena, I would put in better silver payouts, because a lot of people, if they did go into the arena, they didn't get a lot of silver payouts, so they were losing on the silver that they could be making in the other game modes. I would also allow people some number of entries free a day, just so people can play it and try and experiment with it. I put in 5 free entries a day. Maybe that's too much. Maybe 3 free entries, but definitely not 1 free entry. And in the past event, you had 1 free entry, period. It was not a day. It was just you had 1 free entry for the entire event. So I think they should make the arena at least let you have a certain number of free entries a day, just so a lot of the players could actually try it out. And finally, the honor points earned in the arena should count towards the daily event task. Now, I don't know if it did in this event or not, because I never played the arena, but I'm just extrapolating from past events when we had the skirmish. The result of this skirmish game you played did not count towards the event task. So I'm not sure if they did the same thing here with the arena or not, but if they didn't, then I feel that anything done in the arena should count towards your daily tasks. Finally, well, not finally, the second point is prizes. There were a lot of people, or several people anyways, who went into the event and they really only wanted one exact prize out of the lot. Some people don't care, they just wanted as many prizes as they could get, but some people just had a goal of getting this one prize. And I always have to go back to Islander because I watch his videos religiously, and ever since his event started, he always wanted the Hussar. That's the only thing he really cared about, was getting that Hussar. So to me, why not give players the option to use your event tokens for either doing the random chests or have a shop available that you could go and just buy the item you want outright. So let's say you could use 1,000 of your tokens to get a weapon of your choice, or 2,000 tokens for a bot, etc. That way, people, if they had the goal in mind that they wanted to get one single thing, they could just go and buy it from a shop and not have to try their luck with quote-unquote gambling, if you want to say. Just try their luck with the randomization chance in the actual crate openings themselves. Now, yes, the drop rates of the prizes would be a lot more beneficial by just doing the randomization, but you have the chance, or the unlucky chance, of not getting the item you really want. So if you really wanted that Fenrir, for instance, you could just go to the shop, use almost all your tokens, and buy that Fenrir outright. I also think they should be adding a new prize into it called the upgrade token. So many of us are struggling with silver and gold, etc., just trying to upgrade our weapons and bots. Why not put in there also a token that lets you do an instant upgrade? You don't need the silver. You could do it at any one point in time. Let's say you have a level 11 bot and you really want to get it to level 12, but you don't want to spend the 70 million silver in order to get it, or save up the 70 million silver. But if you got this upgrade token, you can do an instant upgrade. I think that would be an awesome addition to the game, and have these upgrade tokens only available in the events. You can't get them anywhere else in the game. It just makes the events that much more special, and something for people to strive for in the events. Finally, they need to rework the honor tasks so it be fair for everybody. The number of honor points per task should be relative to the bonus you get with your league. As I mentioned before, people in Champion League could grind out tasks quite a bit quicker than, for instance, people in Expert League and those below. I understand Pixonic wants to reward people for being up in Champion League with more honor points for their league progression through their league crates. However, the event is for everybody and should be fair for everybody. And therefore, this brings me to my next slide here, which is how I would rework the tasks. So, as I mentioned before, a Champion League player can get 400 points for a top place task. An Expert League player gets around 210 points for a top place task. So if you take the example of one of the honor points that we had, both Expert League and Champion League and Gold League, everybody had the same task, earned 25,000 honor points. However, an Expert League player earns roughly 50% on average in honor points compared to that of a Champion League player. And conversely, a Gold League player earns about 50% on average compared to what you get in an Expert League. So if you take the 25,000 honor point task, on average, it takes a Champion League player around 8+ games to get it. An Expert League, about 12+ games, and a Gold League player, about 18+ games. And that's assuming the person is actually pretty good in their league. They're always placing like top 1, top 2. So that means a Gold League player needs to grind over twice as much as a Champion League player just to get that same task. Where this should be this should be fair for everybody. So for me, I would be reducing honor points by the league accordingly. So if Pixonic decides that the number of 25,000 is good for Champion League, then based off of the amount on average an Expert or a Gold League player needs to get that same task, we really should be reducing this particular task down to 15,000 for Expert League and about 9,000 for Gold League players, so that it makes it on average that all leagues would take about 8+ games to get that one task done. To me, I think you make these event tasks fair for everybody. In the past, it was get a certain number of kills, get a certain number of beacons, and everybody had to do that. And so it was, to me, that was fair. But when you're putting in based on honor points and you get a bonus with your honor points depending on what league you're in, then it doesn't really make the event itself fair for all the player base. So anyways, that was my thoughts. Let me know your comments below what you think. Did you score anything good in the event? And as always, cause some mayhem on the field for me.